The billionaire's private dojo was silent except for the sound of polished wooden floors creaking under the weight of two men. Cameras were rolling, security guards stood frozen, and everyone in the room felt the tension. Across from the man in the spotless white hakama stood a lean, withered figure in a faded gray t-shirt and worn-out sneakers. The billionaire, an 8th Dan Aikido master and one of the most respected martial artists in the world, tilted his head, smirking. "Shall we spar?" he asked. The single dad wiped his hands on his pants, his expression calm but unreadable. "Only if you promise not to cry," he said softly. A few people chuckled in the back, but their laughter quickly faded when they saw the billionaire's grin tighten. It had all started 2 days ago when Daniel Cruz, a janitor and single father of a 12-year-old boy, had been cleaning the lobby of the billionaire's corporate headquarters. Daniel wasn't just another man with a mop, though most never bothered to see past that. His life was a series of battles, losing his wife in a car accident, raising his son alone, working double shifts to pay medical bills, and trying to keep their small apartment from falling apart. He never bragged, never sought pity, and most people assumed he was just another invisible worker in the city. But that morning, fate threw him into the billionaire's path. The 8th Dan Aikido master, Kenji Takahara, was in town to host a martial arts seminar and finalize a massive corporate deal. He liked challenges, both in business and in combat. When he overheard Daniel refusing a rude executive's offer to clean the mats for extra cash, instead replying with quiet dignity, Kenji's interest was piqued. Something in Daniel's calm tone hinted at a discipline deeper than words. "You've trained before," Kenji said, stepping closer. Daniel didn't look up from his mop. "A little." "What style?" "Doesn't matter." Kenji's smile widened. "Come to my dojo tomorrow. I want to see this little." Daniel had no reason to accept except one. His son, Miguel, had been bullied at school for months. Daniel had tried to teach him self-defense at home, but without proper training space or equipment, it wasn't easy. Miguel idolized martial arts masters and watched Aikido videos late into the night. When Daniel told him about Kenji's offer, Miguel's eyes lit up. "Dad, you have to go. Show them what you can do." The next day, Daniel walked into the billionaire's private dojo. Kenji was surrounded by top students and bodyguards, all curious to see the janitor who'd dared to come. The walls were lined with trophies, calligraphy scrolls, and framed photos of Kenji throwing world champions effortlessly to the mat. "Rules are simple," Kenji said. "No injuries. Just skill." Daniel chuckled. "I'll try not to hurt you." The crowd laughed again until the sparring began. Kenji attacked first, smooth and precise, his movements like flowing water. Daniel sidestepped, redirected the strike, and with barely any effort, shifted Kenji off balance. The billionaire recovered quickly, but his eyes narrowed. This wasn't luck. Daniel's footwork was sharp, his timing perfect, his awareness razor-like. They moved in silence, each exchange faster than the last. Daniel didn't fight aggressively, he absorbed every strike, redirected every lock attempt, and countered with a control so refined it made Kenji's own students gasp. In one exchange, Kenji lunged for a wrist grab only to find himself flat on his back, staring at the ceiling. No one spoke. Kenji sat up, breathing harder now, and for the first time in years, he was smiling in genuine respect. "Where did you learn?" he asked. Daniel helped him to his feet. "Army. Special Forces. And life. Life's the hardest teacher." It wasn't just Daniel's skill that impressed Kenji, it was the calm, the humility, the way he carried years of hardship without letting it poison his spirit. When the spar ended, Kenji bowed deeply. "You are a true master. Why aren't you teaching?" Daniel glanced at his son, who was standing at the doorway, eyes shining with pride. "I already am," he said. Kenji turned to the crowd. "This man is more than a fighter. He's a father who lives by the art he carries. You don't measure a warrior by his rank, but by his heart." That moment went viral. People saw the billionaire humbled not by force, but by wisdom. Kenji offered Daniel a full-time teaching position at his martial arts academy, with enough pay to cover Miguel's schooling in future. Daniel accepted, not for the money, but for the chance to pass on what he'd learned, strength without arrogance, discipline without cruelty, and the belief that real power comes from protecting others. If you're watching this right now, remember, sometimes the quietest person in the room is the one who's fought the hardest battles. Never judge someone by their job, their clothes, or their bank account. Respect is earned not by titles, but by how you treat people. And if this story touched you, hit that like button and subscribe, because you never know whose story we'll tell next, and you never know what kind of quiet hero might be walking past you today. Daniel's life changed overnight, but not because he became famous or because people suddenly respected him. It changed because Miguel finally stood a little taller. The next week at school, one of the boys who had been shoving him in the hallway tried it again. This time, Miguel didn't lash out in anger. He stepped aside, deflected the shove, and looked the boy in the eye. "Don't," he said. Something in his calm tone, a reflection of his father's, made the bully stop. When Daniel heard about it, he didn't praise the move, he praised the restraint. "Son, fighting is the last thing you do. But when you do it to end the fight, not win it." Meanwhile, Kenji invited Daniel to travel with him to Tokyo for an international martial arts conference. Daniel didn't own a suit, so Kenji had one tailored for him. It wasn't about appearances, it was about showing the world that this man, once ignored, belonged on any stage. In Tokyo, Daniel spoke to a hall full of black belts and masters. His message wasn't about technique or trophies, it was about the unseen battles people fight every day. When you bow to your opponent, he said, you're bowing to every hardship they've survived to stand in front of you. Remember that before you throw the first strike. The room fell silent. And then the applause started. But the real test came when Kenji offered Daniel the position of head instructor for a new free martial arts program for underprivileged kids. It meant quitting his janitorial job, a steady paycheck in a world where stability was rare for him. Daniel hesitated. That night, he and Miguel sat on the roof of their apartment, looking at the city lights. "What do you think I should do?" Daniel asked. Miguel smiled. "You always told me to choose the path where I can help the most people. This is it, Dad." Daniel took the job. Months later, his classes were full of kids who had been shy, scared, or angry, learning not just how to defend themselves, but how to carry themselves with pride. Parents thanked him. Some even cried after watching their children bow for the first time. One evening, after class, Kenji came to visit. They stood in the empty dojo, mats still warm from training. "You know," Kenji said, "I've sparred with champions from every corner of the world. But the hardest match I ever had was with you." Daniel smiled. "Because I didn't try to win. I tried to understand you." Kenji laughed, shaking his head. "That's what makes you dangerous." And that's the thing about life, sometimes, the most powerful people are the ones who don't seek power at all. They just live it, every day, in how they work, protect, and teach. So if you're still watching, remember, greatness isn't about how many people you can defeat, it's about how many you can lift up. And if you believe the world needs more stories like Daniel's, smash that like button, share this video, and subscribe. Because somewhere out there, another quiet fighter is waiting for their moment, and maybe their story will be next.